Resident Evil Outbreak is a wonderful game, with very fun characters that have very realistic feeling personalities. One of which is Alyssa Ashcroft, a character Capcom has selected to lead the upcoming Resident Evil 9 as the main character's mother. But unfortunately, Capcom hasn't felt the need to make the game Alyssa is from accessible to modern audiences. And it's 20 years old now. Fortunately, it's very easy to play on a fan server, but to do that easily, you need a computer, and maybe you don't have that. Or maybe you simply don't have the time or investment to play something so old. So that's where this video comes in. Hi there, I'm Eriku, the biggest Outbreak fan you'll meet. And I'm going to tell you everything you need to know about Alyssa Ashcroft in under 10 minutes. Remember to like and subscribe. Alyssa was someone who lived in Raccoon City. She was a reporter that took no nonsense from anyone. She knew how to lockpick and was suspiciously practiced with how to use a gun. A big thing about her as well is she had a crazy amount of connections throughout the city. More so than any other character we've played as in the Resident Evil franchise, so it's really no wonder they picked her for Resident Evil 9. It seemed like she knew everyone, but she sure didn't like everyone. If you play Resident Evil Outbreak File 2 offline, every character has two other characters that like them, and one that doesn't like them. Alyssa was the exception. She disliked everybody in the playable cast, except for one person, Yoko. A lot of people used to ship these two, which is kind of funny, but it's unclear if Alyssa actually saw Yoko as a friend, or if her reporter senses were just going off, so she stayed by Yoko for the chance at a story. Alyssa was very married to her job from what we know, and had very healthy coping mechanisms.
I don't cry so easily. I'm not the type to lose control of my emotions. Letting your feelings take control doesn't solve anything. All I can do is push those memories as deep inside myself as I can, and wait for them to die.
That's just the kind of person she was. She was at Jay's bar with the rest of the Outbreak cast the night the T-virus outbreak happened, getting infected by the rats like much of the early populace. And like with most of the characters in this game, it's unclear what route of levels she herself took to escape. I think it's likely she stuck to Yoko like glue for most of their time in the zombie-inflicted city, though. Now, the biggest lore dump we have for Alyssa comes a few days into the outbreak, when she's trying to escape the city on foot, and ends up at an abandoned hospital in the woods that she has some history with, but she's having trouble remembering. A serial killer wielding an axe has also taken up residence here, killing and feeding any unlucky hikers or city escapees he comes across to a giant plant that he believes is his wife, as his wife was a patient in this hospital. After much exploration and putting down both the plant and the murderer, as well as collapsing the whole building, Alyssa remembers what happened. The hospital was experimenting on patients on the sly for Umbrella, and her old newspaper partner named Kurt was on the case, but he died mysteriously. She was so traumatized by this event that she repressed the memories, but going through the hospital again brought them back, and she returns to the city swearing revenge on Umbrella. This event may actually have the most relevance in Resident Evil 9, as if you pay a lot of attention to the trailers, the room number 201 is featured prominently in a few different places. And room 201 is the room Kurt was murdered in when he was investigating. That can't be a coincidence. Of course, maybe Capcom is just being cheeky. After this event, Alyssa takes one of two courses of action to escape the city. She either ends up at Raccoon University with other playable character George, and makes a vaccine called Daylight with his help before escaping by helicopter. This is possible, but there's not a lot of connection to Alyssa going to the university. So in my personal opinion, I think it's more likely she took the second option, which is following David to the Umbrella lab where she meets Linda, who can also make a vaccine, though Linda gets injured in a series of events and needs to be rescued. Everyone works as a team to get her out either by helicopter or by a truck after defeating a wicked abomination called Nyx. The reason I think David's chapter is more likely is this is the level Yoko gets her memory back. She has a bit of selective amnesia, you see, and I believe Alyssa would still be sticking to Yoko as much as possible. Alyssa is also very clever, and giving her finding out that Umbrella is behind things at the hospital in the woods, it just makes sense for her to be here to investigate them one final time. but this is all a theory, and either is possible. If you think I'm wrong, let me know in the comments and let's chat. Either way, after she escapes, she gains a newfound resolve for life and releases several articles exposing Umbrella, plummeting their stock prices and earning a nice cash settlement with Yoko's help, who sued the pants off of them as soon as possible.
Playing it safe may be best, but that's not what I call truly living. Fight for what you want. There's always going to be risks. You may get hurt in the end. But for me, I'd rather die having lived than live without knowing life. And taking the risks that come with life is the only way to truly know it.
What's done is done. We can't take it back. However, we may be able to start again from the beginning. That's the one gift we humans have. We can rebuild.